Hi everyone. Today I am back with a revisit of an old TV show that I love, and I rewatched it after several years, and it's called Who's the Boss? Now, Who's the Boss starred Tony Danza and Judith Light in the main characters, as well as uh, you know, many other characters like Danny Bintaro, Kathleen Hammond, and the charmed actor. Can't place her name right now for some reason, but the famous one, obviously. um, so the show is about who's the boss, really. Angela is this exec at a big ad agency, and um, Tony, Tony Misali, or Tony Danza, whatever you want to call him. His daughter and him live in Brooklyn, and they moved to Connecticut to give because he wants to give his daughter a better life. They're both single parents, and he decides to become a housekeeper for Angela. So the power dynamic is right there, and that's the fun part about it. The show begins amazing with this amazing comedy, all these characters doing really, really well, making us laugh like crazy. It has 8 seasons in total, and it took me a while to watch all of the 8 seasons. Um, I was struggling to find Who's the Boss actually, where to watch it, because I've been wanting to watch for a while. I know season one is available, but seasons one to eight, I was struggling to find, and I finally found out that in Canada, if you go on ctv.ca, all 8 seasons are available. So that's where I watched them, and the power dynamics, the comedy was so on point. The show was so well written, so well done. Season after season, we walk through these lives of these people and how they are changed. So shows like that were made from heart, I feel, and now these days shows are not made from heart. That's why for me personally, a lot of the shows that I watch are not that good. Like there are some great shows out there, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying that they're not, but for me, majority of them are not any good. And I'm not counting about the breakout shows like Stranger Things or you know um Once Upon a Time that I loved. I'm not talking about the shows like that. These are breakout shows that did really well out of the way, like Bridgerton, the new one that came out. Again, great show. But a lot of the other shows, for me personally, I didn't connect with them that well. I felt these stories were very well written, very well done, very well acted out. It was hilarious to watch Tony Danza and Angela going crazy. Tony and Angela going crazy, figuring out each other's lives, and it was really good. I highly recommend watching the show. I will talk about the later seasons a little bit a little bit more detail because the first few seasons is more of a setup. We learn their struggles, how their power dynamics work, and then in the later seasons, as the kids grow up and how kids start to lead their own lives and how these people are trying to reinvent themselves. Like Tony going back to college was such an amazing thing to watch at his age. Graduating at the age of 40 was such an amazing thing to watch. And I'm going to get to that in a minute as well. But there's some key scenes of other shows too where you are so involved uh, in, in the dynamic of the show that you go through ups and downs with them. For example, at the end of season six, where we know Tony and Angela love each other by now. We know that they want to be together and they are trying to be together. But at the end of season six in the finale, when Tony um gets with another girl from his college, and Angela finds out, I literally my heart sank. Like my heart sank while watching that. I was so sad the way it ended. But luckily I could get to season seven right away. And we find out that, the power dynamic between them is changing a lot. The class difference between them is kind of starting to show. The kind of lives they lead is starting to show how they can be different from each other. And then you go through those different options of how do you set up a new dynamic, and that's where the show changes after season six. At least for me, it did. Some of the good things was that the original jingle was great. They revised the vision with revised the song with same lyrics and everything, but with the new person who sang it, whoever the new singer was, I don't know, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the new version. The old version was so much better. Another bad decision that they made because they were struggling with the ratings, I know, is bringing Billy in season 7. Huge mistake because I know they wanted Tony to have somebody small to look after, and that's where he was great. But the problem was that we had moved past that already. We wanted him to focus on his own kid and not somebody else's kid. And the show, I thought, lost itself a little bit in season 7 and season 8. Also, I felt as the seasons went on, Mona became Mona, which is Angela's mother. Um, she was always very upfront and open about her, personal life, and she became more and more annoying after season 6. I felt like, especially 6 and 7, she was more annoying than usual. Like we used to enjoy the way she handled things, but season 6 and 7, she started to get on my nerves a little bit because I think she was um not being understanding to Tony or Angela or their feelings, and she was kind of playing off of them and getting a rise out of their misery, which I think led me to not dislike her very much. In season 8, she got back to a little bit more normal, thankfully, which was good, which is the final season, by the way. And the last season was very interesting. It had its ups and downs for me. Like the biggest down for me was Sam getting married. That was totally out of line, totally not needed. I don't like it the way story was written. I didn't like the way Tony was chose made to be the bad guy. I totally disagree. Sam should not have gotten married. I know they wanted somebody to get married in the family, so they chose Sam over Angela and Tony. I know they made that decision because it was talked about a lot because it was struggling with the ratings. But Sam getting married was a big no-no for me. I did not like those episodes. When I first watched it, I didn't like it this time I watched it. It just bothered me a lot. In the last season, when Tony moves away and their relationships starts to come apart, it feels hard. I also felt like they were trying to find their footing more in season 8. Like they're trying to reestablish themselves because they were trying to make Tony and Angela kind of hitting each other's nerves a little bit more because they were engaged now. But I felt like it was a little overboard because they've been living together for a while now and they knew each other really well. So this new dynamic kind of didn't make sense to me. It was kind of like offbeat for me a lot of times, and I didn't find it funny, even though they tried to make it funny, but I just didn't find it. I think they went overboard with that a little bit as well. So season 7 and 8 definitely struggled, a lot of them, but there were some good episodes in there too. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good stories in there as well that they've told. Um, in season 8, I really liked how Tony finally got his word, where he got his degree, he got a good job, he did well in his job, he was successful, which was very nice to see. But the ending, I welled up every time Tony, when Angela comes down in the towel in the finale, similar to in season 1, and they actually mentioned that in the finale as well. And she opens the door to Tony being at the door and coming back into Angela's life. That was just aha moment for me. I just love it every time. I get goosebumps. I get welled up, and it was such an amazing thing. It was a full circle coming around with their lives, because we always knew Angela and Tony belonged together. They took such a long time to get together, and then once they got together, there was friction. There was, they moved away from each other, but they got back together, and I think the whole full circle was amazing to watch. I really enjoyed it. Um, I do think Danny Pintaro's role got smaller in the later seasons, and I know he talked about that as well. You feel that, you do feel his role getting smaller, unfortunately, but I hope he does not have a bad memory of it, because they were all so good. All the actors were really good, and I enjoy. And I love the show. I would highly recommend watching it, especially the first few seasons. It's a great laugh, great story, and something unique. I loved it. I know it's a long review, but I wanted to talk about Who's the Boss in quite a bit of detail, so that's why it's a long review. But please like, share, subscribe my channel, and let me know what your thoughts are, what you think about the show, any anything you want to share, anything you want me to talk about it again. I can certainly do that. So please like, share, subscribe my channel, and thank you so much for watching.